When I look at this, the first thing that I thought of, well, maybe they're thinking gang, maybe they're thinking cartel because of the ruthless nature of it. Is it typical that you would have these hits where innocent victims are, I don't want to say the target because it almost makes me want to say maybe they were a target. Maybe it's a calling card. Obviously, there was somebody in that house, or maybe there's somebody in the house that was the primary target, but you kill innocent victims to send a message. Am I off with that?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the cartels right now are operating like a global terror organization like ISIS or Al Qaeda or Hezbollah, and they are trying to intimidate people. And it's really taking it to a new level when you're executing a 16-year-old mother and a 10-month-old baby. But that's exactly what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to send powerful messages across not only the United States, but the world that they are growing, they are powerful, and they're not going to stop, and they're not afraid to kill. And by the way, just so you know, when I ran the Special Operations Division for about 10 years, I tracked and I have a book that I kept on the most ruthless murders, both in Mexico and in America. But my interest was this cartel violence in America because I had never seen anything like this in my life. Burning people down to a crisp with gasoline, taking jumper cables and attaching them to people's ears, and then torturing them, electrocuting them, and then shooting them up in the place. They're very big on dismembering bodies, decapitations. So they go all the way full speed ahead, and they're trying to do that. So it has all the signs of a cartel hit, and I'm not going to be surprised to when the details come out because that's what I believe.
I don't want to engage in speculation, but does it not seem that perhaps that timeline's important? That were they afraid that he spoke to police and what he might say next? I find that arrest important in this. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, look, we could speculate all day, but it's very common that they want to, they want to kill potential witnesses. They certainly want to destroy anybody that's a source of information for law enforcement. I mean, the torturing that they've done to people over the years. I'll never forget the time where they cut someone's hand off, stuck it in the guy's mouth, and then put a note around his neck saying, like, anybody that's out there that's thinking about being a rat, this is what's going to happen to you. So, yes, you're 100% correct. All of this stuff, the timeline is critical. I'm very confident that the law enforcement community out there will figure it out very quickly because, the entire United States should be aware of this event because this is coming to cities all over America. That's the reality. This is the new America with the wide open border. We have an invasion of migrants from 160 countries. There's a lot of people coming into this country now that hate America. It's just common sense when you look at over 1 million gotaways. I mean, this month alone, the numbers aren't out, but they're estimating 65,000 gotaways at the border this month alone. That's a lot of people in this country. We don't know who they are, where they came from, what they're doing here. So we have a huge national security crisis here. I'm not embellishing it. I've been tracking this for years. We focused on the cartels for many years at the Special Operations Division, and we know what's going on. I mean, just look at what's happening in New York this week with the trial of the highest ranking Mexican government official ever because he was taking multi-million-dollar bribes from the Sinaloa cartel and protecting their infrastructure and their operations.
When you mention, here's the thing: this community where this happened is farming community. I think 3,000 people. Some might listen to this story and say, well, of course, this is a perfect place to commit a crime like this. They did it at 3 in the morning, between 3 and 5 in the morning. It's a rural area. Before we get into the search for these suspects, you said you anticipate things like this happening maybe in bigger cities?
It's happening all over America. We just don't hear about it. It's kind of like, did you know, like, for an example, like just a few days ago, 25 Americans were poisoned in one day in central New York? Did you know that 7 died from fentanyl poisoning in 11 days in Broome County, New York, early December? The media is not reporting this stuff. They're trying to protect the politicians who are letting these people in the country. The other thing that you're not going to hear too often is when these people are arrested, what's their immigration status? So I have my network of friends that find out and they tell me the vast majority of these people that are being arrested for these crimes are illegally here. But you never hear that in the media. They don't want to tell anyone because that makes the current administration look bad because they're allowing this to happen. You can't be soft on these criminals. You have to have deterrence. And we don't have that right now, both north and south of the border. So this is going to continue. You don't have to be a border expert or a cartel expert to understand that these people have a multi billion dollar enterprise. They're trying to maximize profits. They don't care about human life. And they're just going to continue to dominate in communities throughout America.